what better way to give you some good tension than a well-choreographed fight scene? What's his next move? Who will attack next? Which opponent should fight first? So a good fight scene not only answers these questions, but manages to keep the audience breathless with the level of tension it produces. So put on your armor and grab your first aid kit, because these fights are so realistic that we won't blame you if you think you're the one getting hit. How can we kickstart our list without mentioning the action comedy superstar Jackie Chan? Jackie has several styles of fighting incorporated in his films, but if you ask any of his fans, they'll probably claim his drunken fights were the best. In The Legend of the Drunken Master, Jackie playing Wong uses a drunken boxing technique called the 8 Drunken Immortals, which he uses to defeat the henchmen one by one. The reason why this fight is memorable among Jackie Chan fans is the way he uses his moves during the fight. For those of you thinking that Jackie Chan was really good at acting as a drunk person, well, that's because he was actually drunk during this scene. Jackie confirms this in a later interview, but that fact only makes him a lot cooler because you can see the peak of Jackie Chan when he's drunk. If you think those regular movie VFX and special effects are cliche, then the movie that you should watch next for is Kung Fu Hustle. But rather than the movie itself, what strikes as a great fight scene is its final fight between Sing and the Beast. At first, the Beast seems to gain the upper hand of the duel when sending Sing flying up to the sky, but with his talents, Sing reaches inner peace and defeats Beast quickly. But the treacherous villain doesn't accept defeat right away. He quickly tries to sting Sing with a poisoned weapon, but to everyone's amazement, Sing quickly converts this to a flower. Awed by his actions, the Beast kneels down, accepting him as his master, which is one of the best endings of a battle scene. The movie continued to show Sing's strength through his battles, but the final battle showed us the peak of his abilities, and the fancy visual effects only added value to it. Kung Fu Hustle may not be everyone's cup of tea, but what it does know is how to do a great battle scene. One man with a gun versus an entire church full of white supremacists. Who do you think is going to win? Well, if you're skilled with your gun and have received extensive spy training similar to Hart, you can sure turn the odds around and become the victor. In Kingsman, The Secret Service, Valentine activates a neurological wave via a phone SIM card that makes the people in the church murderously violent. Thanks to his skill, Hart does manage to get out of the situation without any major injury. But what really matters in the battle is the raw choreography and Hart's brilliant moves with his weapons.
So everyone's been affected, whether they have a SIM card or not.
He only possesses a single gun, but manages to use it quickly and gracefully to take down the people around him. This scene was praised by critics for its action, which was heavily stylized with effects. The film as a whole received acclaim for redefining the spy genre. With a Kingsman around, the church might not be the best place for you to pray. So you think Hart was a better assassin? Well, wait until you see John Wick in all his glory. The first movie of John Wick delivers us with a suspenseful and mouth-gaping fight scene when our assassin enters the Red Circle nightclub to find Joseph. Just like Kingsman, this is one man with a gun versus an entire army of henchmen, but John plays this neatly by combining both action and stealth. In the first part, he quickly gets rid of his opponents through stealth, and as he moves along the nightclub, he switches onto his gun to subdue the henchmen. This battle also emphasized John Wick's amazing agility when it comes to guns and assassination. He knows how to exactly gain the upper hand in a melee combat, quickly pull out his pistol, and then shoot the man dead. John doesn't come out as the victor of the fight, but come on, let's admit it, he dropped enough bodies to compensate for that. A final fight in any action movie is the place where your character meets the toughest challenge, and in Raid Redemption, that challenge is Mad Dog. As Rama frees his brother from Mad Dog's torture, the two of them combine their skill to take down their opponent. Unlike other action scenes, this is a 2 against 1 fight, which allows the two characters to blend their moves together to take down Mad Dog. But unfortunately, Mad Dog's skills overwhelms them both in the first part of the fight. It's rare to see action like that outside of Hollywood, but what makes this Indonesian film surpass many Hollywood action movies is its Indonesian martial arts. Both Rama and his brother use traditional Indonesian fighting techniques to take down their opponent, which gives credit to both the Indonesian culture and its fighting style. This film sure had its great moments, but we're sure no fight scene in it could beat this one. Transporter had its fair share of sequels, but we can't forget the first one, can we? One of the best scenes in this movie is where Frank Martin, aka the Transporter, fights a gang of henchmen near a group of buses. Similar to Bruce Lee, he fights in a very constricted space, but that doesn't affect his movements. Once he's cornered from left and right, he combines the attacks from both opponents using the space he has and fatally injures them. But the real battle comes a while later when he uses the oil around him to take everyone down. The fight has some of the greatest choreography of all time, with Frank using the oil for his advantage to slide between his opponents and take them down. Jason Statham, playing Frank, also uses his own set of moves when it comes to combat to take the guards down. Mixed with skill and strategy, this fight is surely a worthy addition to our list. Need a one-man army versus an army by literal definition? You can ask Neo on how he fought more than 100 Smiths at once with his skill and a metal rod. This battle can also be named as the Revenge of the Smiths, because this was the time when Agent Smith returned to get his revenge, and this time he had his army of clones to assist him. But Neo is much more developed both as a character and with his physical strength, so he manages to gain the upper hand in battle the moment it starts. Rather than trying to take out each of his opponents at once, he only attacks the ones that come closer to him, giving him the edge in the battle. As it progresses, Agent Smith calls on more of his clones and they start to swarm in every direction. That's when Neo uses the only prop in his surrounding, a metal rod, to attack groups of people at once. The scene ends with his escape, because realistically, you can't fight 100 people at once, even when you're inside the Matrix. With the soundtrack and CGI combined, this was one of the best sci-fi action sequences to be released in that era. Now, come on, how can we even start to think of a movie fight scene without thinking of Bruce Lee? Finding the best Bruce Lee fight is actually a really difficult job, but we're sure his skills were showcased in one of his most famous movies, Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee's opponents are skilled military guards, but, as you guessed it, their numbers mean nothing to the #1 martial artist. One punch from Bruce Lee is enough to knock the guards down, but what matters in this battle isn't how quickly Lee gets rid of the guards, but the way he uses kung fu in his battle style to eliminate his opponents. Similar to other battles, Lee fights multiple opponents at once, but in this case the opponents never give him a threat, since they fall victim of Bruce Lee's punches and kicks as soon as they enter the fight. Lee also manages to showcase his skill with weapons and also fighting in a small area. This fight reminded us why Bruce Lee was the master of kung fu, and you have to admit, right, you can replay this the whole day just to watch Bruce Lee fighting. And finally, at #1, we have the hallway escape fight from Oldboy. We all love that fight in a revenge drama. It has brutality mixed in with the character's own rage, which result in quicker, fast-paced fights with tons of action. There too has a final desperate battle with a group of thugs in the hallway during the latter part of the movie. What tops this fight among other fight scenes is the emotion it displays through its actions. Each move of every fighter has a sense of reluctance and strength and dares to at the same time displays desperation while fighting them. The somber soundtrack played during this scene amplifies its emotions and heightens the tension in the most climactic moments. One theme that's thoroughly emphasized in this scene is courage and determination, as Daesu still stands up even after the gang surrounds him, communicating the sense of desperation and perseverance. This fight is one of the best fight scenes in movies, and we can all see how it inspired many other action classics like the Raid movies. With that, we reach the end of the list, and we're sure you're impressed by these amazing fight scenes. A good fight scene isn't based on choreography alone, but its emotions, stunts, and even the skill of the actors. The music, the setting, and the props also play a part in establishing the background of the fight. So, do you agree with this list? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop for all of my future uploads. I'll see you next time on The TV Regent.